Hey guys, it's Danny. Alrighty, I hope you're having a good day. I have to tell you, my weekend was not really that glorious. I didn't have a great past few days. But there is a cure for that, and that is orchids and focusing on the good stuff and on the things that actually go well. And I think you can relate to this, but looking at orchids and examining them and seeing the good in them actually helps me a lot. So today I just feel I need to focus a little bit on that. So today will be a positive video, if you will, a positive updates video. Now, usually on my videos, I tend to focus a lot on the negatives, or actually no, on the problems, because I am more of a problem-solving type of person, and I guess the most useful videos are the problem-solving ones, not necessarily the, ooh, pretty orchid. So I do tend to neglect the good news side of things as well, but I think today I really need to make a positive video, and I kind of need to focus on the positives. So let's see what the orchids are up to, the good things that bring me joy. And if this inspires you to take a look at your orchids and enjoy them for the little things they create, then that's perfect. Alrighty, let's start. I wanted to start here. Let's start with an ooh, okay, I'll talk about this, don't worry. It's a cinnamon twinkle, it's a new orchid, I'm so happy about it. It's actually from Anna, but I'm gonna comprime the new orchids, I think, in one video once a month, rather than keep making those hauls all the time for two orchids. You know, it's a kind of waste of video. So we'll get to that in a different video. But what I wanted to focus on today, and I think the brightness is a little bit too much, is the Coelogyne usitana. Now she is making this new growth, and initially I thought she is producing a leaf at the top. It's a young adult, if you will. So I kind of know how a leaf looks like, but right now in the middle she's creating something very thin, kind of like a needle, that really doesn't look like a leaf. And I've suspected this is a flower spike, and I think it really is, because if I turn around this plant, we can see that the leaf is forming together with it as well. So on this side you can see the actual leaf emerging, and from the center there's this really slender formation, which I suspect is a flower spike. Now the way this orchid blooms is quite fascinating, at least to me. This is why I actually purchased it. It produces a flower spike which arises from the top of a pseudobulb right in the center. So along with the leaf, this orchid is a unifoliate, if you will, orchid. Not sure if this applies to other orchids rather than Cattleyas, but yeah, it only produces one leaf and then a flower spike, terminal flower spike from the middle. What's interesting about this flower spike is that it is sequential and it's forming in a pendant manner. So as far as I read, for about an entire year it will keep producing little blooms that are really gorgeous. If you don't know how this orchid looks like, she has white petals and sepals with a very dark red or dark maroon lip. In pictures it looks very velvety. I'm really curious to see it in person. Since I purchased it as a very young plant, you know, I didn't have high hopes to see the bloom anytime soon, but I think this is the year where I'm finally gonna see the blooms. Now with this orchid I kind of had some issues. I purchased it from Schwerter, and the first one that I got was really not in good condition, and it actually didn't make it, no matter how much I tried to save it. She was a little bit too weak, maybe she had some issues, but I managed to get a no, I think it was a replacement. Yeah, I talked to Volker and he agreed with a replacement, no problem, and I received this one, which has been really vigorous, and yeah, she withstood a lot of things. She has a nice root system that is currently growing, and as you can see, one of the older leaves is a little bit damaged here. She had a lot of spider mites. She lost a lot of leaves, and on this one I used the hairspray treatment, and while other orchids did very well after it, when I switched the brand of hairspray, things got a little bad and I managed to burn some leaves. And this was actually a new leaf forming at the time. I managed to burn everything from here to the tip, but then it continued to grow, and ever since then this orchid is doing fine, no more spider mites. So yeah, such a vigorous species actually, I wouldn't have believed it. So fingers crossed we're gonna get to see a bloom pretty soon, and yeah, she's becoming more and more popular, and if you like it, all the more better. I think you can easily find it. Yet another surprise comes from this Paphiopedilum. Let me show you what I'm seeing. I am seeing a formation here that does not look like a new leaf. I'm not sure if it appears on camera, but it is pretty fuzzy, a lot darker in color than the leaves. And if I put it against the light, it has a pretty funky shape to it. It really doesn't look like a leaf. So I'm guessing finally we are talking about a bud forming here, and that's fantastic because I don't know what this guy is. It's a NoID. I received him actually 3 years ago, and he was pretty tiny in the sense of a leaf span. Right now he's quite the big boy. He's quite a huge Paphiopedilum. He was really tiny, but he did have a new growth on top of him. So pretty much a sort of flower spike with another plantlet on the top. We did some surgery and separated the two successfully. Currently, a half of this guy is at Ana Maria, and I understand he's doing quite well, and half of him is here. And he had quite a nice evolution. He grew amazingly well, doubled in size at least, and yeah, right now he is producing something that is not a leaf. Let's just call it like that, because you never know. I'm hoping it's a flower, and we'll find out what this guy looks like. I doubt he's a Maudier. Let me do a comparison. That there is my Maudier, and this is this guy. There you go, side-by-side comparison. Yes, they're both mottled and they're similar, but they're not identical. So fingers crossed it's not another green type of hybrid or species or whatever it is, but they are indeed different. So as you can see, a new leaf actually is not that dark. This guy doesn't have dark undersides, so definitely this has to be a bud. What do you think? I think it's a bud. Let me just believe it's a bud for a while. I need this, okay? Next up, we have an Oncidium species. This is the Oncidium sotoanum, and actually it's one of the parents of the Twinkles. And we can see quite the big resemblance with the Twinkles, at least in appearance, and flower-wise he is very similar. The fragrance is supposed to be sweet. Flowers are just a little bit different than the Twinkles. They're pink, they're lovely, and right now he is growing a flower spike, as you can see. Really happy about this because this is pretty much a new purchase. I bought it last year in November, and it did put out this new growth, a little tinier than the other new growths, but there you go. Stress, repotting, changing of climate, that's pretty normal. I was surprised to see a flower spike from this tiny little bulb. But the orchid herself is doing quite well. We have roots extending, doing nice, doing well. So this guy is actually doing really well. And the flower spike, if it's gonna be at least half as glorious as this guy can produce flowers, then it's gonna be such a wonderful show. You just wait and see. And it's worth having because it's not finicky. It's easy to grow and doesn't take a lot of space. It produces a ton of flowers that are really cute and really fragrant. Next up, not flower spikes, but who knows, maybe this pseudobulb will create a flower spike soon. But new growths. This is the Bulbophyllum Elizabeth and Buckleberry, with which I always had an issue because he only had one direction of growth. And imagine this guy with his beautiful flowers having multiple directions of growth. Well, this year it decided to make my wishes come true. So we have a new growth that I think you already know about here. This is a 3-year-old pseudobulb, by the way, and this is the pseudobulb of last year, which I was hoping to create a new growth, but it didn't. This guy did. However, I'm just noticing now it is starting to grow a new growth here. So yay, there you go. Time for this guy to take over the pot and start to create multiple blooms. If you don't know how this guy looks like, I'll share with you down below the video I made on it. I tried to make it a little bit more artistic because indeed he's a special orchid, in my opinion at least. And yet again, it's one of those bulbophyllums that is easy to care for, in my opinion. It is a hybrid, it's not a species, but it's just so worth it. And a big bonus, it's not stinky quite at all. It has a sort of vegetation type of smell. It's not perfumey, it's not necessarily pretty, but it's not strong either. It just smells like you expect it to smell. It smells like a leaf, I guess. So yeah, check out the video down below so you see how he looks like. You wouldn't guess it's an orchid, really. It's gorgeous. Next up, we have the beautiful Cattleya Monte Elegante. Now, last year it bloomed and it was beautiful. This was the cane that bloomed last year. You can see pretty tiny. This year's cane is considerably taller and it's not yet done growing. But the best part is that I believe this pseudobulb is creating some buds right there in the middle. It's still pretty early, but I do suspect it will create some buds. Now, this orchid doesn't really create big sheaths. You can see last year she had a little bit of remnants of a sheath, but then it was pretty much the spike growing without the sheath. However, it doesn't have fully formed buds when the leaves split, like the Hawaiian Splash Leia or the Eclandiae hybrids. You kind of have to wait for them to develop, and I already kind of see something developing here. Now, if this pseudobulb is bigger than the other one, on, perhaps the flower display will be better as well. Yet again, fingers crossed. But from the point of view of growth and development, it is a big improvement. So I know that this orchid is doing quite well and she's liking the conditions. Good news, I have not killed one little Vanda seedling. They're actually all doing very, very well. I think they handled transport really good. And let me just show you, I think today, I've seen some new root tips. Okay, this one right here, it's starting to put out another new root right there, as you can see. And I've seen another one, there you go, one starting to put out a root tip there. So they're doing great. I did not kill them. There was actually a funny comment on the video where I presented them, and yes, I took it as funny. It made me giggle quite a lot. It was something like putting seedlings in microfiber and like 6 months later, the biggest mistake I ever did, or something of the sort. I hope I'm not confusing comments right now. Well, so far so good. I don't think it was a mistake, at least until now. And they're looking okay, and I actually need to water them today. So that's good news, considering that I've never had to deal with seedlings. Thank you, Habib, for giving me this opportunity. Everything is going fine, and no, there isn't a lot of light right now because the sun is way high, so I got to get them adjusted to bright light pretty gradually. Right now the sun is actually going down, so the exposure will be gradual anyway. So it's not all that hot. Even if the filtered sun might heat the leaves a little bit, I have quite a lot of ventilation and the AC is running, no worries. And I think that's enough good news for today. I'm already feeling a lot better. Now I'm gonna go edit this video, make a frappe, and feel even better. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and seeing some good things in the greenhouse. So alrighty guys, thank you so much for joining. Hope you've enjoyed this little update tour of good news. If you've enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe to my channel for regular orchids and plants videos, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye! And even so, with all of this vigorousness that we have this year compared to last year in the collection, there is one orchid I am very, very disappointed in. Maybe I shouldn't be. I am looking at you, Seedlings. She is so nice, growing so vigorous, but no blooms this year. Why? I have given you everything. Why didn't you bloom? I'm just kidding. She probably has some good reasons, probably due to stress, but at least she is starting to look more like a Phalaenopsis than a Seedlings, which is actually good news.